From the EPAWA headquarters in South Allentown, Pennsylvania, it's time for Weather Weeklies, an informative video of the ins and outs of weather that affect you most in the EPAWA coverage area. The following segment is a weekly video blog, and the opinions of the forecaster do not necessarily reflect the opinions of the staff of Eastern PA Weather Authority LLC as a whole, nor its constituents. Without further ado, here is meteorologist Bobby Martrus with Weather Weeklies.
And good Sunday morning to you, another edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, February 12th, and we're going to take a look at the Longrange that we released on Friday, of course, expand on that like we always do, and we're going to talk about in this video the couple storm threats we have yet, storm periods that we're looking at, and what needs to happen in order to get a winter event in this area. First, I'm going to start off with the next several weeks, and this is going to be in 5-day intervals here. So this is an average of the 5-day periods between this first one here is February 11th to 15th. Now, you notice this near normal here. It's actually below normal in New England. And, of course, we have that system coming across the area today. That's bringing rain to most of the region, but we do have some freezing rain up in these areas right here. Freezing rain, sleet, and even some snow up in the far north. But this is going to come across. This low pressure is going to move pretty much right over top of the area here, right here, and move up into the Gulf of Maine here. Do like one of these little loop-to-loop deals like this, and then head out. Okay, so that's going to lead to a major winter storm, blizzard, in fact, for these areas here, and before it heads out. So it'll be easily, some areas will get 2 feet of snow out of this and some very high winds. We will have an issue with winds also. We're going to cover this in the short-term, short-range outlooks. We're going to be sending alerts for this today also. But winds that are going to be expected tonight and especially tomorrow morning could be 25 to 35 sustained gusts over 50. Maybe closing in on 60 miles per hour in some places, so just be aware of that. And of course, in those areas that I highlighted, far northeastern areas, we will have that freezing rain, sleet, and even some snow to deal with today. But this is how the 5-day period averages here. And then once we go past this point, 16th to the 20th. Now, this is really 16th, 17th, 18th time frame. You're going to be below normal. After that, we start to, this is only slightly below, but this starts to exit here. And then we have this coming in behind it. We're going to have a warm period, we think, that's going to be somewhere like the 18th to the 22nd or thereabout. We'll be warmer than average. And because this next one, this is the 11 to 15 day departure, 21st to 25th. The 21st, 22nd are still warm. The other 3 are not. So that we average out to near normal during that period. So it's, just so you're not confused on that, it's not going to be near normal definitely here on the 20th or 21st. No, maybe not even the 22nd, I mean. It's definitely going to be above normal, very warm. Have a couple places going to hit 60 again during that stretch here, and it's going to have a couple nice spring days, spring feeling days. And I think toward the very end of the month, we actually start to cool off. A lot of up and down here, you can see, but that's really the pattern going forward. And we're going to be, as we head toward the 23rd through about the 26th, 27th or so, we'll be near to slightly below normal, and then we'll have a period where we warm up again. This is the theme that we've talked about in the last couple of videos. For the rest of winter, we expect a lot of up and down transient stuff. Nothing sticking around. This has really been the theme of the entire winter, where if you don't like the weather today, just wait a few days and it'll be different. No different through the rest of March, we think. Maybe even into April. This transient stuff, up and down stuff, goes into April, I think. And I hate going to long range that far. That's exactly the reason we abandoned the seasonal outlooks, aside from the forum. But looks like if you're going to get me to commit to something, I'm not going to do it. But I do think there's signs that this up and down transient stuff, where it's warm, then it's cooler, then it's warmer, then it's cooler. I think that happens, that continues for quite a while, and even goes into April before we get anything sustained as far as warmth goes. Tropical forcing help, not much. We talked about this in the last couple of videos also. We are now heading into, actually today, getting ready to head into Phase 8. Typically, Phase 8, now this is a measure of the convection along the equatorial, or the equator, the equatorial Pacific is what we're most worried about. If it's in Phase 8, it's right near the international date line. That kind of forcing, the whole idea here is that the best convection and that forcing releases latent heat, and that heads poleward. It changes the whole configuration of the jet stream, so they have a ridge out, promotes a ridge out west in the western United States and a trough in the east. And we will have that. But this also usually promotes blocking. We're not going to have that. We talked about that in the last couple of videos here. Phase 8 typically produces a trough in the east, cold and stormy look, and usually you get some big East Coast storms. Your biggest blizzards occur usually in Phase 8. Well, that is going to occur here for some areas in the Northeast, but not here. Okay. And it's just because of the configuration of that ridge out west. I'll show you that in a minute also. But I don't see any help from Phase 8 for our area here in that period before it does eventually collapse. Now, this is the GFS ensembles on the left, the European ensembles on the right. Pretty much both the same idea, going through Phase 8, maybe a brief stint in Phase 1 before collapsing into the middle here in the circle of death, where it would have no help on the pattern whatsoever. Okay, so let's take a look at this system here on Wednesday. Everybody's worried about this one. Again, if you want to have any information about the system we're dealing with today and what we'll do up here in New England, you can look at our weather alerts page. That's our short-term stuff and that's already plenty covered, so I'm not going to waste any time on that since this is a long-range video blog. Now, this is what's going on as we get into the middle of the week, and there's some speculation we have this big, massive storm in the middle of the month, and the models were showing that for quite some time as we're out in the longer range. But the reason I don't think it's going to happen, and that's right, I said I don't think it's going to happen. See this ridge here? The ridge center is out here. Typically, this is too far east. Okay, this is too far east. You want where you want the pinnacle of this ridge. So where you go, I'm going to redraw this. So I had too much going on there already. The pinnacle of the ridge is like right here. You want this back towards Ohio, or Idaho. Good Lord, Ohio's over here. It's been a rough morning. Just had my coffee. Anyway, so this is too far east. And so everything's a little bit too progressive here. We talked about this in pretty much all winter long. Here's your southern stream vortex right here. This is the one that would be the big storm, the would-be big storm. Okay, here is the northern stream system. There's no connection between these two. This is rendered weak. This is a little bit stronger. And in order for this to occur, this whole northern stream here would need to slow down. It's very fast. Okay, this system is our departing system today. This could help slow it down. Okay, but the problem is the southern jet is really not that. It hasn't been strong all winter. Okay, so you got a fast Pacific jet coming in here. Your fast Pacific jet. This is very fast. But that's your northern stream that's very fast. So this is running out ahead of the southern stream vort. And it looked like the models were backing away from it this week. And we're like, well, let's just wait and see until it comes on shore and we'll see what it's doing. But there's no indication to me as far as from an observational standpoint that this is going to speed up enough that it will be able to be captured and phased and come up the coast and give us a big storm. This is too fast. Combination of that and this being too slow will not allow this to happen in the middle of the week, and that's why you don't see anything right now. Is it possible you see some last-minute changes? I guess, but I really wouldn't. I really would give you less than a 10% chance of that happening right now because there's just observational data that we're looking at showing that this is too slow and this is too fast. So, I mean, it would have to be a miracle of a turnaround for that to happen. This storm could slow this down. This system right here, a little bit, slow down the pattern up for the northern stream, but this is still too slow, so it doesn't really matter. So I really don't. The bottom line is I don't think anything's happening in the middle of the week. I think you do get a little bit of snow showers from that northern stream system for some areas, and that's it. After that point, we're going to head to the 20th here. We're going to get, this is a look at the 20th, very warm in the east here as a ridge builds in here. We're going to have some temperatures again, 50s, 60s, as we head into that period from the 18th to the 22nd. So this ridge is going to move in, be very warm, but is also transient, meaning it's not going to stick around long. And you have instead of having a ridge out west, now you have a trough. So the cold air is here in the western United States. And then we go a little bit further to the next storm threat. This is the 22nd, 23rd time frame. Actually, this is, I was looking at the 23rd right here. And there is a signal for a storm right here. And you can see that right here. This is looking at the upper levels right now. And you do have blocking over the top right here. Okay, so you have the high over the top, banana high over the top, and you have the storms down here. Now, right now it's not producing, it's showing a model to produce anything but rain. All right, and that's why we didn't put this in that table on the long range outlook that we do on Fridays. That's why we did not say this is a winter storm signal. This is a storm signal. It could very well be rain, but if it can, do something where it can induce its own cold with a high pressure off for the north here, it's still something that needs to be watched. And this would be another thread the needle type system. This is all you're going to get in this pattern. You're not going to get a conducive pattern conducive for cold and snow. You're going to have to do something with a thread the needle type system. And that's the only thing you're going to get out of this pattern the rest of the year. So if it does snow, I'm saying it's not going to snow the rest of the year, but odds are against it. And if you do have something, it would be something like we had this past Wednesday night to Thursday, where we had something that just kind of showed up last minute, and the next thing you know, you have a thread the needle snowstorm. That was a perfect example of thread the needle. The cold was in place just at the right time for us to get a snow event, mainly from along I-78 points north and northeast, where you had that accumulating snow. Otherwise, this winter has been really horrible from a snow lover standpoint. Great if you don't love snow. Okay, and then we go out a little bit further here toward the end of the month. Again, the polar vortex is still sitting right here over Baffin Island. You get some ridging trying to work against it here, but it's not budging because it's too strong, and that means you have a lot of the zonal stuff here in the United States here. So with zonal, you start having temperatures that are going to be slightly above normal, and that's again, this is February 28th we're looking at here. You see the signs of a ridge starting to build here again, not much, but a little bit. That gets temperatures to slightly above normal, like we have in our outlook for week 4. So I don't think this is going to be overwhelming cold or warm as we head into the end of the month, but overall it averages, and as we head into the early part of March, overall it averages above normal, at least slightly. Again, these potential systems we're talking about, here's the one here on the right in the middle of the month. This is Wednesday. This is a look at the GFS here. You have a northern stream system up here. Your southern stream system's down here off the picture. But the two make no connection here because this is too fast. This is too slow. So this will just exit out in this direction like this. Maybe a few snow showers with it, and that's about it. No big deal. The southern stream vort will just head out like this because there's no connection made for this to pull it up to the north and give us that big East Coast snowstorm that was shown several days ago. So again, very low chance of this occurring. Not impossible, I guess, but looking at observations, I give this less than a 10% chance of coming together and giving us a big winter storm. The second system, this is the one around the 23rd, and right now it's shown to be rain. Strong system here, but with the high up to the north here, I have to keep an eye on this. If this digs in any further south and gets any kind of inflection involved in this pattern, I don't want to write this off either because, you know, you're going out the 23rd now. Today's only the 12th. You're talking about 2 weeks in the future here almost, and a lot of things can change in that time frame. If you have enough the high pressure over the top here with a low one cutting underneath here with enough cold air that it can induce with a strong low, you could have some snow coming in here. We'll see. Not thrilled about this event either, but this would fit into our with our look here that is right here. Okay, and you can see what I'm talking about here with the high over the top, and you get some storm-induced cold. Maybe something thread the needle could happen around that as well. So those are really your two threats that you're looking at. I just gave you the percentage in the first one, and not very good. If you want to hold on to something, go ahead, but it's not going to be me. We definitely don't have, one thing we don't have conducive with Phase 8 is typically you have blocking over Greenland. That's not there. Okay, you have no blocking over Greenland, and the reason you don't have any blocking over Greenland is the PV is almost over Greenland here. It's sitting over Baffin Island, and if you have these the polar vortex right here, you can't have any warming into Greenland, and that's your block. With no block, you can't get any cold to be sustained, and no blocking pattern to hold this pattern up and give you a big East Coast storm. And that's what we're looking at right now. That's what we're looking at right now. I don't think, right now, in my opinion, I don't think the rest of the winter is going to produce anything at all as a general idea. However, you can still get one of those thread the needle events like we had this past Wednesday night into Thursday, where you can have some, the perfect setup, perfectly timed with one of these cold shots, because again, it's going to be warm then cold, warm then cold, warm then cold, straight through the month of March. So I'm not going to write off snow completely and say it's impossible. If you do that, of course, then it comes back and bites you anyway. But it does look like if there's something perfectly timed that comes in here, they can give you one of these little storms here that can induce its own cold, and it takes the right track at the right time, thread the needle, you can still get a storm. So we'll take a look at that going forward here, but the outlook right now, from my opinion right now, does not look very good going forward into the month of March here, but you never know. It always takes one. I'm Eastern PA Weather Authority meteorologist Bobby Marcus. That is this edition of Weather Weeklies for Sunday, February 12th. Join us again next week. We'll take another look at this system here, if it's still there, as we head into the latter part of February. Take care.